All right. Ready? Let's go. Hello and welcome to another episode of This Is Our Year. I'm your host, Michael Kurland. Joining me, as always, my counterpart, Dougie Fresh. Doug, what's going on?
Hello, Mike. Episode 87. Good to
Wow.
see everybody. Good to be here. You're in LA, so we're going to talk about that first, okay?
Yes.
But, I do have to introduce a beer, and I found something fun or weird or just we'll get silly, but whatever. Do you remember this, Cam? The Pink Elephants?
Yeah, Delirium.
You've seen this stuff around. Yeah.
So there used to be, and it's probably still there. There used to be a barbecue place in Patchogue, New York, on Long Island, right down the street from where I used to live. And they would
Shout out to Suffolk.
Yes, and they would serve really, really good barbecue for Patchogue, New York. It was good barbecue in general, but it was also a bar, and they were known for their Belgians. And they had they had this big long bar, but they had this fridge at the end of the bar, and it was just stocked with Belgians. It was like triples and dunkel and whatever,
which can get dangerous.
Dude, I would go there. So we'd go there on a Friday night after work because it was like 10 minutes from our office. And we would go order a fucking pulled pork sandwich. And I'd have like
one of them big pretzels.
I never got the pretzels. It was like Southern barbecue. But I would get three. Okay. I would get
We're not talking beer hall.
Deliriums.
Sorry, I wasn't.
Yeah. I'm sure they had a pretzel, but it was mostly like Southern barbecue. But I would have three of these like Deliriums. And dude, I thought I was fine. 3 beers, I could drink 3 beers. Dude, I was on my ass every time, and that's how that's how my
can't feel my face.
Yeah, exactly.
It's 8 p.m. Wow.
Delirium Tremors, isn't that like the normal one? The Tremors, like the DTs,
yeah.
right?
And so like this one's the Noctorum. It was all these. I guess I didn't know they have a ton of flavors, but it was like a 4-pack. But I'm breaking this out because you guys know that thing where you're like, someone close to me is sick and I cannot tell if I'm going to get it or not. That's where I am right now. Jenny is like down, like real sick. And I'm like, it's a little like, but with the sinuses. So I figure, fuck it. Let's have a delirium. Let's have a good show. We'll put on Ohio State, Texas, and let's pass out on the couch. We are having Loser Friday night in Connecticut, January 10th.
January 10th. Are you? What's the weather? Is there snow? Is there rain? Is it cold?
It's funny because like we had a relatively nice day today, 40 and sunny. But like all the Southeast, and I work with a bunch of people all over the Southeast, they're just getting wrecked with like snow and like if you're a kid, it's a huge day. It's a Friday and you got a snow day, early dismissal, all that. But like all those adults are like,
fuck, my kids are going to school.
So it's fun. Like especially like North Carolina, Atlanta area. Shout out to those guys. But like, it's a good segue because, like top of the news, and there's a lot going on, but top of the news is what's going on in Los Angeles with the fires. And obviously you're a little south of that in Huntington Beach, but it's local to you. Do you want to talk about what you've seen this week?
Yeah. I mean, dude, you guys have all seen it on the news. It's like 30 miles from my house. It's devastation. It's really sad. So I'll start with like the empathy. Like it's really sad. Every like communities are gone. It's not just like a couple of houses. It's like fucking communities are gone. Restaurants, iconic restaurants, like shopping plazas. Like this is gonna take 5 years and $5 billion to fucking rebuild. It's crazy. And then now I'm gonna get into the political stuff. Like all this was preventable.
Well, hold on. Before you do that, before you do that, I heard someone post, like, I don't think they're doing the Olympics. Like that's how serious we're talking here in 4 years.
No, I don't know who posted that. That's dumb. That would be okay. That would be
they're still going to push it through.
Well, I mean, it's not the Olympics aren't anywhere near where this stuff is. It's gonna,
Okay.
in theory, like no one was staying in Pacific Palisades or like going
Sure.
there for the Olympics. no one is, Hollywood Hills, like there's nothing there for,
Yeah,
for the
they're not.
Olympics.
I mean, the village could be there. It's usually a bunch of
Craziness.
Anyway,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the village would be, but that is. I don't think that's neither here nor there, right? It's probably going to be somewhere,
fair enough.
it'll probably be somewhere down near like the Coliseum, if I had to guess, but I don't know, which is also not the nicest area in the world. But they are cleaning up LA. They've been working on like getting the infrastructure in place. They're fixing LAX to like make it not be a shithole and an impossible journey to get in and out.
Well, isn't the fire pretty close to the goddamn airport? That's what I'm talking about.
No, I mean, in theory,
they contained it like that. They concentrated on that part, right?
It's probably not. It's close, but it's probably as close as Norwalk is to Stanford. Like, it's close, but it's not like burning the airport down right now, right? So,
and I gotta stay off the feeds. Such garbage.
Yeah, I don't know, but like Pacific Palisades is north of Santa Monica, and and then like everything that went west, because we've had the Santa Ana winds also, like it was the perfect storm. It was some shit went up, apparently some arson. A couple things that happen here is they don't clear brush out of like wooded areas. That's a problem. The mayor of LA cut the fire department's funding by $20 million this year. They didn't fill the reservoirs before fire season came, and I don't know if January is typically fire season, so
I heard conditions were right for a perfect storm, though. Like,
yeah, and so like someone
like there was water and shit grew up, and then it got dry, basically, in like stupid terms.
Yeah, and then the winds came in, and the winds blow from west to east, so it took it whatever started and just pushed it inland, and it's up in hills, so it's not like they can't just like it's not this flat land. So if you look at the pumps, like Pacific Palisades is up on a hill, and it's in between like Malibu and Santa Monica, and so to get all the water, you have this pump system that brings it up the hill. Well, they had to shut the pump system down because there was electronics involved, and they didn't want the fire to burn the electronics or start an electrical fire, which would have made it worse, I guess. I don't know. That seems like a really bad system to have if your fire suppression system is run by electronics that you can't use during a fire. So I don't know, man. Like a lot of this stuff,
put a chip in it. That'll fix it.
A lot of this stuff is really poor planning, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so the others.
Oh no, yeah, that's where I thought you were going to go off on the politics, but that was
can.
it, right?
No, there's more. There's more. Like,
but
California has been in a drought for as long as I've been here. There's enough water in Alaska coming down. We've rerouted the water to go out to the Pacific Ocean because, on the surface, we're trying to save this endangered fish called like some sort of smelt. And then that's why we haven't rerouted the water down into the reservoirs and to the farmlands and the grapevine is Central California. I think there's more behind that with
I've never heard about that, like, because I always thought you guys got it from the Colorado system. I don't want to get off on this, but
we do, but we don't need.
There's a way to get that Alaska, that real nice water.
Yes, there's a way to get that, and we don't.
Well, luckily,
so I don't know. Depends on who you talk to. Like, there's a lot of Democratic policies out here. I don't want to get off on like. There's a lot of policies.
Oh, dude, I know.
It's protecting everything but the people, and now you have like a ton of homes burnt because we protected a fish that nobody cares about, right? So,
well,
I'm not saying that we shouldn't protect animals, but like people first, right?
Yeah, but like when things happen at scale, that's when things are maybe rethought. So
correct. So I think there's going to be a reckoning. Adam Carolla, I don't know if you follow him. He used to be on the Man Show. If you remember. Of course. Yeah. So
I don't follow him, but yeah.
I mean, I don't either. But he went on a rant the other night when this all happened, and he was saying like, there's so much government and red tape out here. and all these people are on coastal areas. A lot of these people are in coastal areas, and the Coastal Commission has been trying to get them to leave anyway. And now their house burned down, and good luck trying to rebuild in your old place.
Well, thank you for the segue, because whether or not anyone wants to get into like the science or the global warming, I was going to just bring up, what you have to look at in that kind of debate? The insurance companies.
Right.
And if they're doing their own work on like how much it's going to cost them to fucking cover certain parts of the land. And you see it kind of happening in Hurricane Alleys too. And
it's here too.
I feel like this is going to be the theme of this century, unfortunately, until we figure out what to do.
Dude, there's a ton of insurance companies that won't write homeowners policies, and I'm not talking small ones. I'm talking big ones. Like
right.
They just pull out of California, just like they pulled out of Florida, and they're like, "We're not doing it. We're not fucking writing another." I had to get my policy rewritten. I'm not even in, knock on wood, a fire zone. Like,
yeah, thank God. By the way,
yeah. I mean, I'm sure if a fire broke out here, we'd be in trouble. I think Orange County is a little different than LA County, thankfully, in the aspect of policies. But
we'll knowing the OC though, like that, it could burn with all the. There's
if something started in Laguna, it would not be good. But where we are, we're really flat. It's not.
Oh, that's true. Like beach areas would be fine.
Yeah, we're really flat. I mean,
up in Fullerton, where Jenny's parents are, that would burn too.
Burn. So it's scary. We had a fire about 7 years ago in Peters Canyon, which is in Tustin. That was a hilled canyon, and the whole thing went up in smoke. And they contained it thankfully quickly, but it got the whole canyon, and the canyon was beautiful. You used to be able to go hiking there. I'm sure you can now, but I'm sure there was a couple of years where you couldn't. But anyway, we're not here to be political, right?
Or just depressing about the world on fire.
Well, I think what you said though is it leads to change, and I think some of the whether you're Republican or Democrat or independent or libertarian or whatever, some of the policies in the state of California are just not good for people. They're not good for business. They're not good for people. And maybe we need to start rethinking that.
I mean, you guys have always done your own thing. And I don't want to go off on this, but the constitutional amendments are kind of unique to you guys, and all the things that have stopped other things from happening because of that stuff is fascinating. Anyway, this is not a politics hour or a book club. Let's talk about our stupid goddamn teams, right?
Yeah. Let's get away from the real world and let's talk about soap operas for men.
Yes.
Let's start with the news of the New York Metropolitans that came out in the last 24 hours.
Hey guys, we're Mets fans. Let's talk about the Mets.
In the middle of playoff football is about to start, but we're New York Jets and Giants fans, so we don't know what that's all about. So let's lead the show with Mets talk.
I told you I will put on the college football. Are you going to watch it at all?
No. I just don't care.
There you go.
It's so it does.
No, dude, you're from the Northeast.
I'm from the Northeast. I didn't go to a big school. I have a 2-year-old and I have a wife, and so
it's Friday night.
And it's Friday night. So my sports viewing has really dwindled in recent years, and I've been able to narrow down what's important. And college football.
So glad you asked me to start a sportscast podcast in the last couple of years.
Hey, but I still watch. I watch baseball. I watch baseball, especially the big games. If hockey was good, I would make time for it. I still watch at least a quarter of a game for the Brooklyn Nets, and they are in full on tank. And if you know anything about me, I love a good tanking team. So
dude, it's more fun than the mushy middle. It really is.
Yes,
I'm with you.
You got some of these scrappy guys. This team is going to be remade,
and you're thinking about the picks you're going to get.
Why don't we start with the Brooklyn Nets? Nobody gives a fuck. Let's do 10 minutes on the Nets. We never give them any coverage, right? But I've actually been
National Basketball Association.
Which people have started caring less about in general because
ratings are down, huh?
They're really down. There's not really a good star. LeBron's at the end. Steph is getting close to the end. Who's going to carry the torch? I think the next guy is probably Anthony Edwards. if I had
right.
to
But
pick
like,
someone, I mean,
we're
Shai.
starting to be old guys. Are we doing the '90s take like it was better back then when they just beat the shit out of
No,
each
I'm
other?
not. I'm not.
I,
I'm not saying that. I think there's just a new. There's like a regime
because
change
we're
happening.
jacking threes. That's what we're
We're
doing.
jacking threes, but here's the other problem. So like Anthony Edwards is really good. Plays for the Timberwolves in Minnesota. Shea Gilgeous Alexander SGA
Yeah,
is like probably the best player in the league. I think
I was a little
he.
shook to see the Cavs Thunder being like a marquee matchup the other day, and I'm like, oh my
Right.
god, look at these records! Like
Right.
I just hadn't looked. Yeah,
Right.
so yeah, you're right. It's
Right. So
fragmented, right? There's no super team.
there's no super team right now, and some
Except
of the
maybe the
biggest stars
Celts
are
are no,
playing in
not
like
really.
the Celtics are good. They won the whole thing last year. They have a chance to win it again this year. So they're probably the closest thing to a super team, but all the stars are not in major markets. So the NBA has become really, I don't want to say decentralized, but they
Right,
like the guy who almost won the MVP is in Oklahoma City, and like
right, right. Like,
The
and
Suns
Donovan
are
Mitchell
trying
is,
in
yeah,
Cleveland, and the Suns are trying to do another super team, and that is aging super team that's failing again. So like the Lakers are trying to get the last
they're always
year
trying that.
year or two out of LeBron. They're like fledgling. You got Victor Wembanyama in San Antonio. Who gives a fuck about San Antonio, right?
Dude,
So
I actually hung out with a guy from San Antonio last weekend, friend of Jenny's husband, and those people exist. And I need to watch more of this guy. Just like I just need to find Spurs games when I'm bored because my
so
goodness.
I'll tell you, man. The
That's
NBA League Pass,
yeah.
it's only $150 for the year, and like it's worth. I mean, for you, you probably don't need it because you're. Are you a Knicks, a Nets fan, or you just don't care, right?
You know me, I'm a mercenary with the NBA. I didn't grow up with NBA love like I did
Right.
with the other three sports. I can watch it. I can get into it. I just don't have an allegiance, right? I've
Sure.
tried. I've
Sure.
tried with the Nets. I've tried with the Knicks. I can't explain why I don't like the Knicks. I just don't.
Because they're
It's
like the
hard. It's hard to
Yankees.
explain.
They're the team. They're the big brother team
But
that.
even when they were like the underdog versus Jordan, I still had a hard time getting on the bandwagon. I can't explain it. I don't know why.
Because they're not fun to
But
root for. They suck, and Charles Dolan's shitty. But
yeah,
anyway, we don't need to go deep diving into what's
Jim
wrong with
Dillon.
the NBA.
Actually,
Let's just
Charles just died. Via con Dios.
let's talk about the Brooklyn Nets for 5 minutes, Doug. You ready?
The floor is yours.
So they're tanking for Cooper. This is like a really good draft if you're in the top, couple of picks. And the lottery
White
changes
guy from
everything.
Maine, best basketball player in the draft. Right.
White guy from Maine, best basketball player in the draft. Cooper Flag will most likely go number one. Then there's like Ace
We're
Bailey
not talking
and
hockey. We're
and
basketball.
some other
Yeah.
guy
That's
that I can't
crazy,
think of
right?
his name right now. So
Yeah, there's a foreign freak, right?
the
Sorry.
top three picks are all like possible franchise altering talents, right? And so everyone is tanking to like get as many balls in the lottery as they can
Are
get.
there three on Flag's level? Like, are two others?
I think
Sorry.
Flag is like A, and like the other guys are like A minus guys. Like if I had to,
Okay.
yes. So the Nets were trying to tank to go into the season. They hired Jordi Fernandez, who is from Spain, was the assistant coach for Mike Brown on the Sacramento Kings, and
Former trailblazer in the dunk contest.
And
see, I watch the NBA.
And the head coach of Team Canada, who actually finished their best they've ever finished at the World FIBA, whatever it is, World.
Well, good for them, but they're not a country in 4 years, so haha.
Yeah, well, maybe less than that, right? So I see what you're doing there, Doug. I see what you're doing. So anyway, the Nets have one or two guys committed money to after this year, one of which is Nick Claxton. Nick Claxton, their center, they signed to a 5-year deal. Good pick and roll center. Yeah. Does what Jordy wants him to do. Good defender. And then the rest of the guys are like either on 1-year deals or non-guaranteed contracts. They've already made some big trades. They're starting like
sorry, who's the other guy that's signed?
After
You
this
said two.
year, after this year, they have their draft picks from 2 years ago, like Noah Clowney and
Okay.
Dariq Whitehead. Yeah,
But
he
there's
has their
no
big.
one on like a multi-year. There's no.
There's a couple guys
Okay.
that probably have a second or third year that have non-guarantees.
But it's a super young team, you're saying.
Most of their team is expiring contracts. They have Cam Johnson, who has 3 years left, but they are looking to trade him right now. He is their best player right now.
Yeah.
He came over in the Durant trade.
Right.
And we're trading every vet off the team. We're starting Tyrese Martin, who played for UConn a couple years ago and has never started in the NBA until this year.
This is what sucks about not watching Sports Center anymore, right? Like you just don't know anyone.
Keon Johnson, who was a Knicks #1 pick a couple years ago, that he's like
vaguely familiar.
Not very good. He's okay. He's a decent bench player, like a defensive stopper. We're starting Noah Clowney, he's got some upside, and Cam Johnson, who we're looking to trade. And then our bench is like just.
Oh, and you have Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, we traded him to Golden State a couple weeks ago, and we traded Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton to. They're both gone, and we traded them to the Lakers. No, that's not right. Who did we trade Dorian Finney-Smith to? The Lakers.
Did you just get D'Angelo, or is he?
We just got D'Angelo back from the Lakers for those two guys.
Okay.
I'm sure we're going to trade D'Angelo before the trade deadline as well. So
he's only 28. Wow.
Yeah, that's old in NBA terms, though. So
it is. I remember all the drama like 10 years ago when he was a rookie.
So we're tanking. It's kind of been fun, though. Some of these guys, like Jalen Wilson, is our second-round draft pick from like 2 years ago, and he played for Kansas, won the championship at Kansas 2 years ago or whatever, 3 years ago, whenever it was. And he's gonna be a nice little bench piece.
UConn's won too.
Yeah, 3 years ago. He's gonna be a nice little bench piece when we finally get this team put together. You know, like they're just collecting assets that they're either gonna build up and flip or keep if they can when they finally are ready to compete. They're hoping to compete next year because Ben Simmons' contract, which is the albatross, comes off the books.
Oh, see, there it is. I knew there was something that you guys were carrying.
So he's got a $40 million contract that's going to come off. So it's going to be exciting because we'll have the ability to go to free agency. We got a good coach in place who's what we've seen so far. He can teach the fundamentals and they play hard and they play it the right way. And it's kind of like back to when Kenny Atkinson was the coach, who is now the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I believe they're in first or second place at this current moment.
So, I thought you were going to go all the way back to Lawrence Frank, but Kenny works.
I think Lawrence Frank is the GM of the Los Angeles Clippers currently. So he's doing his thing too. Someone's got to do it. So anyway, enough about basketball. It's just been fun to watch some of these guys that probably wouldn't even be in a rotation on most of the teams in the league getting some run. Yeah. And this is how you unearth like gems, right? Like these guys that probably would never get a chance. So
it's and actually what's kind of cool is like we do work together, you and I, because I have the same level of dedication with the Islanders. I am going to admit to some copyright infringement here, but I got NordVPN and ESPN Plus. I just added it to I didn't have it, added it for a few bucks, and now I can still watch the Islanders even though they're having a fight with Optimum. I thought I could stop, but I'm a goddamn junkie, and I'm like, let's watch the fucking Golden Knights Islanders game tomorrow at 10:30 while we pass out, and I did it.
Nice. Well, they won, which was nice.
I did it. Oh yeah, they shut them out.
I watched 0 minutes of that game. This team is
so I got you covered. You got the Nets covered. That's what I'm saying.
So let's segue. Talk about the Islanders right now. Like, give us 5 minutes overview on the Islanders.
The Islanders are frustrating because they're not a contender and they're not gonna sell until I see any evidence of them or them making a trade at Brock or Kyle. We're stuck with all these guys. And I said last week that no one's really standing out. Anders Lee is having a goddamn rebirth. Good for him. He just keeps racking up goals. He's getting a little puck luck, right? At like a lot, everything's going in or a lot's going in. But no, man, you can tell he's put the work in.
Good.
Overcome those injuries. He's older. He's big, which is a big problem when you're on skates, right? But I'd love to see them flip him for assets too, even though he's the captain.
Yeah, I think, I started watching in the beginning of the year, and it was like nothing has changed. We have the worst penalty kill and power play in the league. We're
Yeah,
fucking
it's
losing
really the
leads
special
again.
teams that are killing them.
We're
Like
losing leads
last
at
in
the
both, right?
Yeah, we're losing like
Yeah,
historically last in both. I don't think any team's done that in the
right.
last 25 years.
Nope.
And we're losing leads in the third period again, like multi-goal leads in the third period and
No
losing the
heart.
game.
Yep.
And
No,
so
no, no closure. Yep.
no, and so like I don't need to spend 3 hours or 2.5 hours of my day watching this bullshit. Like, and to your
Yeah.
point, like we're stuck with a lot of these guys for the next 5 to 6 years, and it's a shit
I know.
product. It's a shit product,
Um,
and we have the oldest general manager who, like, I love him. He brought us back to relevance. He took us through the dark days after Tavares left. He brought Trotz in, but
Absolutely.
every move he's done
That was a
besides
dark
bringing
time.
it, besides bringing in Trotz, has been pretty shitty. I mean, he got Sorokin over here. He got Sorokin signed. He got Barzell signed.
He didn't
The
draft him
Horvat,
though.
he
Yep.
didn't. But the Horvat trade was a good trade. I'll give him that. The Romanov trade was a good trade. I'll give him that. But some of this other stuff that he's done has been bad. JG Pajot. Okay,
Yes.
that was probably a net positive trade
It's
as
more the
well.
contracts than the moves, right? Like just all the
It's the
years he's given out.
contracts. He's given
Yeah.
out like Pierre Engvall 7-year deal that they've already like tried to waive. He's been waived like 50 times. You got
He's a fifth liner. Their entire fourth line right now is, I mean, there's a couple injuries, but they are
Casey
awful.
Cizikas, 7-year deal. Scott Mayfield, 7-year deal. Fucking everyone got a set. It's like
Pellick and
Oprah.
Pulak have a lot. Pulak has played well. I would love to see him waive a no trade because there's like 3 or 4 years left on both those deals. Pellick's
Right.
not going to age well. I think you're right. Romanov in a good system will be fine. I don't know what to do with Dobson, man. He's had a real slot year. Like it's just not in his own end, obviously, and he's not on a 70-point pace this year.
No, I think,
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of fires.
I think that's coaching,
They
Doug.
really need to trade Kyle and Brock and just get some stuff. Yeah, it
So
probably
I
is
want
coaching, but like Bridgeport is the worst in the AHL. Like this is it's across the organization, man.
right, and his son
And
is
it
the
kind of
GM.
comes off as a country club when you have an assistant coach whose son got a 3-year deal and he's on like a 10-point pace.
And the GM's son is the GM of the shittiest team in the AHL. I
Yeah, man,
think
it
this.
doesn't look good.
So here's what I'll say. When they brought in Patrick Waugh, I was like, fine, he's won Coach of the Year.
Yeah,
But it's as that
it's still the
has
same
aged,
player.
as that has aged, what it looks like to me is if the Jet, and this will be our segue, so we don't have to talk about the Islanders anymore because that was 5 minutes.
Nice.
It's
Well
as if the Jets would go and hire Rex Ryan during this hiring cycle.
okay, yeah.
He seems. I mean, the fact that your penalty kill and your power play are both the worst in the league. You're out of touch, and I don't know. I think the owner's got to get involved. We got to send Lou out to pasture, or just give him a cushy fucking title and let him sit up top and smile and shake
Someone
hands.
else
But we
needs to.
need a new GM. We need new blood, and they got to turn over this roster. And it seems very hard and difficult, but it's probably a 2-year process. And once that happens in year 3 from now, we can at least be somewhat competitive if we get the right people. I don't want to sign up for what the Sabres are doing. I don't want to sign up for what like.
But the Rangers do this well, and
the Devils did it well.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's a better example because the Rangers are a marquee destination, right? But the Rangers went out and said, "Hey guys, this ain't our year," and then they started making some trades, and then they were back in contention
2
again.
years.
Right. It's
So
not the end of the world.
No, we got a new
it's
building.
Not the NBA where like you're really buried for a bit.
No, the NBA you can turn around fast now too. It's just you gotta get. The problem is, in my opinion, the game has passed Lou by. At some point, heart and grit and toughness and team unity it only gets you so far, especially when that team unity ages together for years. We're one of the slowest teams in the league. We're one of the oldest teams in the league. And we have a coach that didn't coach in the league for 10 years, I think. So we need an injection of like young, new, analytically driven people. Like, as much as like everyone hated Garth Snow and that country club, like, what's different? It's just Lou and his country club. There's still
the
no
only
analytics.
Difference is that Lou has traded off all the future assets, right? They haven't had any first round picks, so the cupboard is bare, and everyone's
still
old. That's a horrible combo.
There's still no analytics. It's still one of the smallest fucking front offices in the league. So can we please step into 2025 as a franchise with a new building and actually some decent like people? Like, our top line isn't shitty. It's just the rest of the fucking thing has 7-year deals and they're shitty. Can we get a coach in there that has some like forward thinking? I'm not shitting on Patrick Waugh. Maybe he is the right guy, but if I'm Patrick Waugh and my penalty kill and my power play are at the bottom of the league, I'm probably going to fire both those guys and bring in someone new to run the penalty kill.
And you feel like McLean can't get fired, right? I know the other guy is someone Waugh brought on, and it's not going to get fired immediately. But like Tommy Albolin and John McLean both work for this team, and you feel like there's no way they're getting fired in season, right?
Not with Lou. Not with Lou. And then the last thing I'll say is, and we talked about it for a moment last week, is if Lou is a lame duck GM, don't let him fucking run the trade deadline. Yeah. You got to get rid of him, and I don't even care if you bring Garth Snow back for an interim basis just to get over the hump, because Lou.
Milbury?
No Milbury. I mean, if you look, Garth Snow's track record was actually better than whatever. But the problem is like,
Garth could trade. Garth couldn't draft. But
Garth actually was not bad at drafting either. If you look at his track record, he's got most of his team is Garth drafts.
He's so lucky he turned Griffin,
drafted
Reinhart,
Anders Lee. For sure.
Oh no, you're right. Like, he would find the gems. Actually,
he drafted Sorokin. He drafted Anders Lee. He drafted Brock Nelson.
Like, fourth round on, Barzal. He was fucking on point.
He drafted Pellick. He drafted Pulak.
Barzal, he got lucky though. Come on.
I mean, he made it happen though. Like, he drafted Cizikas. He drafted all these guys. Like, he drafted Mayfield. I'm not saying that these guys are bad or good, but they're NHL players. They would be.
It's a knock against Lou, because this is still Garth's core, and he's been gone for 6 years. Again, that tells everything.
And so I
he's
digress.
The GM in fantasy that just doesn't do anything.
I digress, because that's a terrible idea to bring Garth back to, but like something,
right?
Like, we got to do something, man. So, well, let's turn the page here. You brought it up earlier when we were off air. Let's talk about some NFL coaching news. You know, we want to talk about the Giants. Both your GM and your coach, 1 year left on their deals, right? We're given the thumbs up from the ownership. How do you feel about this?
In other words, John Mara couldn't make a firm decision, so he's, fucking punting it down the road. It's hard to be like, we're not excited, right? You've seen Giants fans this week. We're not excited. There's not too much to be optimistic about. I immediately think, well, let's maybe not draft a quarterback in the top of the draft, because he's going to have 2 coaches in 2 years. Stuff like that. I don't know. I honestly, I've been doing other stuff, like mostly work, and I haven't dove into what like the feeling is. But when I saw that news, that's a shoulder shrug at best. These guys have proven, or at least Dable has proven, that he can have a dysfunctional culture. But I haven't seen much to hang my hat on here that things can change. All of this depends on who the quarterback is next year. And I guess they're letting Dable die on his sword.
Yeah, I think
him one more shot. I don't know.
I think everything you said makes sense. 2 lame duck GM coach, they're tied to each other. 2 things I would say is, hopefully they don't draft a QB, because you don't want to burn a year, right? Or if they do, they make him sit.
Yeah.
because
I mean, if Cam Ward drops to 3, sure.
you're taking him. If
You
Shadir
take him.
Sanders drops to 3, you're probably taking him, right? But here's
Probably. I don't
here's
know.
here's what I think. The problem is you've never been equipped with a backup quarterback to Daniel Jones since 2 years ago with Tyrod Taylor, right? So this year you went into the year with Drew Lock, fucking Daniel Jones, and Tommy DeVito.
What
That's
would we have won if we had, like, I don't know, Sam Darnold? I don't think we would have.
I don't know. I don't know. I think where the alternate universe for this team is you sign Saquon to a long term deal and you punt on Daniel Jones like 2 years ago,
Well,
right?
well, that's all gone, and you're right.
Right.
And by the way,
Right.
all this is miserable. Thank God he didn't break the Dickerson record, I guess.
I don't. Whatever, man.
I know.
Whatever with all that stuff. It's just that was dumb. But I
But it's
think
just that, like, there's, I don't know. There's nothing is inspiring about this. And if this
it's
is about
scary.
Shane, yeah,
It's scary because they have $50 million in cap space, and if Shane is on an expiring deal, and he has the
exactly.
ability to just go fucking throw money at people because he
Right.
wants to save his job, like it could work, but it could also end like
It'll
badly.
set us back a few more years, basically,
Right. But
is what you're saying. And
if I was the Giants, this is what I would do. I would because there is a little bit of hope in the quarterback market. It's not like the quarterback market of 5 years ago where
fair,
no one ever shook free.
right?
And then
Like
you were
Ryan Fitzpatrick was always the
yeah,
best.
and you were in purgatory with either Josh McCown or Ryan Fitzpatrick, both starting
Right.
quarterbacks for the New York
Good
Jets.
call on McCown.
So I think you could go out, and even if you do draft a quarterback, you could go
John
out.
Kitna. I just wanted to say another guy.
Yeah, that guy. That was pre those two guys, but yes.
And
You could
Garcia,
sign
like career Garcia.
Jeff Garcia. Oh, he actually had some good years. But you
He
could
did.
sign a guy like Justin Fields, who is not.
Yeah, sign me up on the Chuck.
He is
into
not
Malik.
Josh Allen, but he is. He has the ability to run. He's big. He can take a hit like Allen, and he can probably is
Mhm.
probably the closest thing to
He gets
run.
hurt.
I think he's 6'4", like 230. He's not a small
He is a big
boy.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
And I
think
guess
he
he's
can.
a little smarter than he used to be.
Yeah, well, I think a year in Pittsburgh
Experience.
has really helped him under Arthur Smith. I think
Right.
Dable. I think that's a guy you guys will target, and I think Dable can run
It makes a lot of sense.
He can run his offense with that guy. He's low cost. It's not going to cost you a 10-year deal. It's going to cost probably a 1-year, prove it to me, like $5 to $10 million deal with the ability
And it's
to compete.
also like either a boom or bust outcome, and then
Yep.
you get to tank again, and then you get your quarterback next year.
Yep.
And look, I said this exactly a year ago, but hey, I'm down for another year of tanking. I'm not expecting to compete next year, right?
No, and if you do what the Niners did, the Niners, like everyone was kind of like disappointed in them, but they kind of tanked this year. If you really look at it,
Yeah.
they rolled over 50
foot off the gas, right?
They rolled over, at the end of the year for the salary cap, if you don't spend it, you get to roll it over to next year's cap. They rolled over $50 million of cap space. So they had the most of the league. And granted, some of that's because Brock Purdy is still on a rookie deal as a 7th round pick. But, you just put
just do that.
50. So if you can roll over, like, I think 50 is egregious, but if you can roll over like $30 million next year instead of blowing it all, be competitive, and maybe you guys can get an extension and go in and draft your QB, or you suck and then
there's
you get
some
punted.
insane linemen you could just get, like either on either side of the ball. I mean, Evan Neal's a bust, so you got to
bust.
patch
Can
that
he play
hole.
guard? Is that possible, or is that not?
I don't want to see him on the field again.
Okay,
That's how bad he was.
That bad. Fuck, man, that sucks.
I don't know. I wasn't watching him closely at the end of the year, but yeah, that was.
Those are the kind. But if you look, like a guy like Mekhi Becton moved inside a guard and had a good year this year.
That's true. No, you're right. Like, guys can turn.
So maybe
around.
you
Eric Flowers fucking turned it around.
Right. Maybe you put Neal in at guard, and then you just draft another right tackle, and there you go.
I think he's still on his rookie contract. It's not like he's gone, but
no, exactly.
There are holes everywhere, I guess, is my point.
Yeah, I didn't watch a lot of Giants football. So where would you, like, if you're not taking a quarterback at the 3rd overall pick, what do you want?
This team, I know this is a boring answer, but this team has had this problem since the last Super Bowl, and it's the offensive line. And like the pass rush was pretty nasty this year, actually.
Okay.
You could add to it and just be like this monster ass, like get that guy Graham from Michigan and just get this monster ass line on the defensive side. You could do that, but I haven't studied the draft, dude.
Okay.
But yeah,
Well,
I would think about the lines.
okay. Well,
Boring
let's
answer.
let's shift gears to the other New York
Although
franchise.
I think you're going to bring this guy up, but like yeah, like you like Jalen Monroe. Sorry,
Jalen Monroe. Yeah, the guy from Alabama. Yes.
Your delirium number. I did some pre-gaming. We started like an hour late, so
I know. Good for. I think that's happened the last 2 shows, which is great.
Yeah. So we're getting into the silly part of the
Jalen Milroe.
Milroe. That's what I was trying to say.
Yes. So let's. I mean, he's.
Like the Giants could always trade down.
The draft process hasn't even started yet, right? So we don't know who's going to be thought of as top guys. But if you look at the QBs that should shake free, there's Kirk Cousins, there's Justin Fields, there's Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers may be part of that. You're going to get possibly JJ McCarthy or Sam Darnold. One of those two may shake free. You're going to get a couple other guys that are going to come out that I can't think of off the top of my head.
I don't want nothing to do with Kirk.
Yeah, I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying Derek Carr should shake free. I mean, dude, I hear you. I'm not saying that these are good options. I'm just saying there's not, you got some older vets and you got some still some young guys.
Like Fields and Darnold are somewhat interesting though. That's not gonna.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're both interesting, but we'll see. So yeah, let's flip it to the New York Jets real quick. Talk about where they have no GM and they have no coach right now. So
fuck it.
Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Yeah. There you go.
Fuck it, Woody.
Yeah. Right. I don't know. So I don't know where we're going with that. I don't know.
Hold on. Are you not getting Vrabel now? Do you think he's going?
No, he's going to the Patriots. Yeah.
God damn it.
They fired Mayo immediately so they could hire Vrabel. He'll be announced as soon as they interview. I think they've already done the Rooney Rule, interviewed a bunch of guys that they had no intention of hiring, and then Vrabel will probably be announced as soon as possible, and away we go.
Well, welcome home, right? So
yeah, it's where he should have gone. It was what should have happened last year, in my opinion. I thought that was a no-brainer, but I don't know. I don't know what all that bullshit was with Mayo.
Hey, Antonio Pierce is free. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. He might be the D coordinator. Yeah, so the nice thing about this coaching cycle is there's not a lot of openings. There's not a lot of GM. There's only like 3 GM openings, and I think 3 GM openings, maybe only 2. I know the Raiders fired Tom Telesco,
right?
And I think that's it, and us. And then there's only like 4 coaching options open. So, or maybe 5. But
Jets, Jacksonville, New England,
Chicago,
Tennessee. Oh, Chicago,
Tennessee, and Vegas. So there's 6. There's 6 openings for coaches right now. So we'll see, man. If I had to,
who do you want? You want Ben Johnson? Like unrealistic. Anyone?
Who do you want? Ben Johnson immediately said he has no interest in the Jets job because we have our quarterback situation is.
But would he be up there
if he wanted us and we had a quarterback that he could fucking do something with? Of course, but I don't know. Yes, ideally, yes. But I think he's going to go to Chicago or he's going to go to Jacksonville and just crush it.
I couldn't believe Caleb Williams had one of the lowest interception rates. Watching him play.
Well, it's because he just took about 4 billion sacks because he holds on to the ball.
He did. He goes down a lot. Dude. But he's always trying to create because they have another shitty line, right? And just kind of when he does get rid of the ball, it's fucking accurate. It's impressive.
He had a worse statistical rookie season than Zach Wilson.
It's hard to believe. Again, watching him play.
He was not good this year, and I don't.
He was he was playing playground ball, but and that's why I couldn't believe the interceptions were low.
I think it's correctable, but I think he, just like we started seeing Bryce Young finally turn it on the end of this year. Yeah, if he gets the right coach in there, I think he'll be okay. But for the
Okay.
Jets, I would like to see either Aaron Glenn as the head coach from Detroit's defensive coordinator, former Jet cornerback,
Former Jet, yeah, coming home.
or I'd like to see Josh McCown, outside the box kind of guy, come in and be the head
Nice.
coach and bring some of that either that Minnesota or Detroit love. Like, I don't want everyone's like Kansas City. We interviewed Matt Nagy and Steve Spagnuolo, and I'm like, I don't want these
No,
retread guys.
don't do it. Don't.
I don't want these retread guys. I don't want this fucking.
Spags needs to stay as a coordinator and do not go near Nagy.
Nope, I don't want any of those guys. I don't want Borgonzi. I would like to get Randy Grigson is in Minnesota. He used to be the Colts GM. He's like a director in Minnesota. I don't know if I love him because there was a lot of problems with him when he was in Indianapolis. Pat McAfee hates him. Andrew Luck, apparently that's part of the reason why Andrew Luck retired.
Was he one of the guys who was drinking? I forget. Like there was the Colts are always a mess.
Yeah, what? I don't know. Jim Irsay, the owner, got the DUI is who you're thinking of, I believe. Gregson.
Well, and the prescription drugs, but for some reason I thought Gregson was into it too. And
maybe I don't know. So I don't know if I love that. I like. There's a guy Agnew and with the Lions. There's a kid Greenberg that grew up on Long Island on Tampa Bay. So I don't know.
From in Tampa, just like the Rays. That's the quant. Get that guy.
Right. So just like we did the last time we hired a guy from Tampa Bay, it didn't work out so well. Yes. So Idzik was a fucking huge failure, and he was the quant. But we'll see, man. So anyway, enough about all that. That's what I'd like to see. One of those two guys, a little outside the box, a little former Jet, get some love from the media that's been there before, knows the people, knows the city.
Yeah, man. Like honestly, I think the Jets have to hire big egos at this point. Like just to break the spell. You can't
Vrabel would have been good, but I don't know if if Vrabel is going to ever take him to a Super Bowl. I think he can fix the culture, but I think Aaron Glenn can fix the culture too.
Well, you need a hell of a quarterback or offense.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Yeah. We need a quarterback. And we don't have one right now on our roster, and I don't know. I mean, we have Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know what's going to happen with that. So it's just very hopeless.
So.
Hopeless. So,
is he doing the dark room thing again?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I
are we going to get updates? Like
I've shut the Jets off. I've shut the Jets off for the last since the week I went to Arizona to watch in person, and they got their dicks kicked in. I stopped watching. I never watched another game unless they were on.
I forgot about that trip. Yeah, I hope it was fun at least.
I got drunk. I got really drunk for a couple of days, so it was as fun as it could be.
How's the stadium like?
State Farm Stadium's whatever. It was very generic. It looks like a toaster oven on the outside. It looks like a concrete jungle on the inside. Nothing great about it. It's fine.
Super.
Super.
Well,
super.
That's where you're going to see the Rams. So I guess you got to fly out for that.
Dude, my buddy has season tickets, and that just happened to him. And he's like, whatever. He does it more for clients and whatnot. But I'm like, dude, I don't know. Are you going to get a refund? I don't even know how that works, right? Like,
what sucks is for all the Minnesota Nice who are coming down, who made plans, and now have to divert to Phoenix.
Not a big pivot though. That's why they did it. It's not
a lot of tears in the mayonnaise right now.
Yeah, exactly. You want to talk about these guys now and a little bit of.
Have we not talked about the Mets?
No, we didn't. We started with Brooklyn.
What is the deal? Oh, that's right. We did not. Hell yeah, man.
All right, talk some Mets.
Maybe
buddy.
Maybe Pete's coming. I don't know. They're playing games though, and it sounds good. Like. The Mets get an exclusive 3-year offer, right? With opt-outs. Is this some kind of like Boris snipe because he has another deal in his back pocket and he's going to make the Mets? Yeah. Are you 100% that the Mets are signing him?
I
like
am 99. I'm 99%. I think what happened is Boris sold Pete a bag of goods. Pete left his agent last year to come here. He had that 7-year, $160 million deal on the table last year. He turned that down. That looks really bad right now.
Yeah.
Boris must have told him I can better that, right? I mean, that's the only reason why. So now Boris is here, and he's probably, if I had to guess, he's probably got a 3-year, like $100 million offer on the table from the Mets with opt outs after every year. So
is that 35 a
it's a
year?
little under 35,
Ish.
but I'm just grabbing a round number here.
No, I think you
So
were talking about that before. I kind of
yeah.
agree with you. Just like give him a little extra money and give him the freedom to get the fuck out if
If he
he
wants to
excels.
have a monster year,
And
go out back out to market again. You want to try and have the
and
biggest
if it
thing is
goes
we need
wrong,
him. We need him for
yeah, no,
this year.
we need him, and he's a Met. And if it goes
Right.
wrong and it's 3 years, who gives a shit?
Right. If he has a bad year and he stays, then it is what it is. But like,
Right.
if he has a good year, he's probably gonna try and leave again every year with his opt outs and hope to get a couple more bucks.
It does seem
And
like he's going to put on a Cubs uniform at some point in his career. It
you
really
think
does.
so?
I don't know why. I just see it. I
I
don't
don't
want to
know,
see
man.
it, but
I
like
think. Go ahead.
I was going to say, all like the pundits here are like, there's so much value in staying as a Met for your
I
whole
mean, David Wright
or
came
any
out.
team as their whole career, right?
David
And
Wright came
that's got
out
to,
and said it in
yeah,
his like Hall of Fame, day speech. Pete, I'm not going to shit on you if you go out, but there's something to be said about never leaving here.
yeah.
I think
Daryl has said it.
Daryl wished
David
he
Wright.
never left. Yep. I think Pete's going to stay because there's just if there was more money out there and there was a bigger deal to be had,
He
he
would
would
have
have
done it.
signed it already.
Yeah.
Like that for
Even
that
if it was Seattle or
all those first basemen all signed because they
Minnesota.
all saw that the market was what
Yeah.
it was. And everyone signed except Pete. So if there was a bigger deal out there, he would have taken it already. If that's really what it came down to, that he wanted the money, right?
Not
And
that
I
this
think he
is
does.
related, but do you think Bregman's in the same position, or do you think he has any leverage? Not to get off track.
I think Bregman is in the same position. I think
Yeah,
they're
like the
both.
musical chairs and the music stopped.
I think they're both on the wrong side of 30. I think what they're asking for is really high. I think if their price comes down, then more people will be interested. But I think at that point, if the price comes down, why would Pete not come back to the Mets than to go to some new situation
Right.
on a discount? And I don't think that Bregman has the opportunity to go back to Houston because I'm pretty sure they already
He
backfilled
does
Nick
not.
Bolt. Yeah,
Yeah.
so he wanted to
And
get
that's not
paid.
how they operate.
No, so I could see Bregman's going to go somewhere. I could see him coming here, man. If he drops his price enough, and we say fuck it, we sign
And Pete
him.
goes somewhere else. Yeah.
No, I think we sign them both, and then we trade Marte. That would, you want to go win a World Series? That's a movie.
Well,
man.
yeah, and that would be a Carlos Correa like announcement, right? Right. We were excited for a couple days. I've seen you're not insane, it's Stephen Cohen. I've seen it mentioned
Right.
elsewhere.
I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but if it was me, I would be like, fuck it, guys. Like, I know we wanted to go all in for this. Like, I know we went all in for Soto, and we want to like build the sustainability, but we got a real opportunity here to,
Because you still have Prime Lindor.
You have Prime Lindor.
And
You have Nimmo at the very end of his prime. You got
the pitching isn't
Soto
great,
in his prime. The pitching's okay, and I think with what we showed last year, we should be able to like replicate some of these guys also having better years than what they've had because of their stuff and the coaching and the lab and all that stuff that we've talked about.
And I think a player or two that is young is going to contribute next year. Like you mentioned, Acuna.
Put Vientos at DH. I think Alvarez is going to have a better year. I think he's just if he doesn't get, last year that thumb injury derailed his season.
It really did. It's such a tough position to be consistently good at, right? That's why Piazza is so amazing, even though he couldn't throw anyone out.
Well, he couldn't throw anyone out, but I think with Alvarez, I think he rushed back too quickly because we didn't have anybody playing well at the time because Narvaez was still on the team, and it wasn't really working. And then we got Torrens, and that didn't really inspire any hope in people, and he actually turned out to be better than we thought. But Alvarez has got to be catching 5 days a week and producing for us to be successful.
I mean, Kevin Parada has fallen off prospect lists. So, they do have young guys, catchers coming up, but Alvarez has a clear path for the next 2 or 3 years.
Longer than that. If Alvarez reaches his ceiling, he's not going anywhere anytime soon, and we're going to have to pay him. Is he going to stay at
Yes,
catcher? That's a different
I
question.
agree, but I think, pardon me. I think at this point in his career, he's underperformed a bit, and he needs to
Agreed.
really have a good year this year. That's all I'm saying.
Agreed. But he's only 23,
Yeah,
24?
he's like 22 or 23.
Yeah, he's
We
super
forget how young
young.
he is.
He's
Yep.
super young, and he's been injured both years,
And he's
right?
kind of
Like,
cocky, which you like. Like
he's very
he,
cocky.
he can tame that swing.
He can tame that swing. He is a big husky guy, right? And like
Oh, so much power.
he can exactly. He can withstand an entire year behind the plate. I think what I am feeling positive about is the strides he made defensively from 2 years ago to this year were big. It was a big jump.
And working with the pitchers, right?
Right. So if he can focus now that he's honed that craft, if he can focus that on his offensive side this year, then I think the sky's the limit. I mean, I think he could be a 260 hitter with 25 homers, 80 RBIs, and catch.
I thought he was going to be a 30 home run guy. I still hope he is,
he
but
still
obviously
may
the
be.
power numbers have been very disappointing.
Yeah, and he still may be. I mean, I think part of it's he doesn't get cheated in his cuts, and he's not really great at strike zone recognition. But if he can hone that part of his craft, take a few more walks, take a few more pitches, and like wait for his pitch, and stop
it's such a
chasing
compact,
bullshit.
Powerful swing. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
When he gets a hold of it, dude, it's.
And by the way, like hanging out with Soto is going to help. It's got to. Of course,
he just needs to be choosy. He needs to take his time up there. He's very, very 22 at the plate, or 23, however old he is.
No, well said. And especially a catcher, which is a ton to deal with, like game prep and all that.
Right. So I feel very, I read Jim Bowden's like picks and off-season report cards, which is whatever. It's fucking January 10th, but he picked the Mets to finish third behind the Braves next year. I was very surprised at that.
It's not insane because we're in an insane division. And
the
Braves will be back.
I mean, the Braves,
especially if Acuna's healthy,
really not done much this offseason. They've lost.
And they, Strider and Acuna didn't play last year.
But Strider and Acuna are both coming off big injuries, and they're not necessarily going to be 100% day one. So, I mean, that bodes well for them at the end of the year if they can be there at the end of the year. But who knows?
In terms of moves, you're right. They haven't
done anything. The Phillies have made a couple moves. The Phillies, they've been playing on the fringes, which is probably all they need to do. But we'll see.
They always do. That's still Dombrowski, right? That's all he does. He buys.
But they're an older team. They keep getting older.
Yeah. It's Dombrowski team, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun, but we're banking on our pitching performing better than they've ever performed. So that's a big if. So
exactly.
All right, Dougie, it's been a fun show. What do you got to say?
Oh, real quick, sign Tanner Scott. I don't care about reliever variants. He's just like a really good fit, right? You trust him, and he's lefty. It's high lev. We need another fireballer. Yeah.
Yep, and we need a lefty fireballer. Danny Young is like the ultimate junk baller, and I don't mind him being the second lefty in the pen, but give me Tanner Scott for the eighth inning when Bryce Harper's coming to the plate. Give me Tanner Scott, not Danny Young. Danny Young, I think, did okay against him, but like eventually he'll find his number. Tanner Scott, I don't know. We'll see. So,
exactly.
What do you got to say, Dougie?
I don't know if I have a Via con Dios. I kind of forgot to do it. Who did we lose? Anyone?
Well, you said Charles Dolan, so do that.
Fuck that. No, he's not worth it.
How about Via con Dios in New York Islanders 2024-2025 season? Because it's fucking.
Are you calling it? Are you do the Nets this week?
Okay, Via con Dios.
We'll give the Isles one more
2025.
They've won 2 in a row.
Brooklyn Nets season. Let's tank, but it's not. But we've never wanted it to begin. Let's tank harder, boys. Let's get in that top 3. So
hear that, Cam?
Come on, trade everyone. Let's just clean house. I'll play point guard for I'll come off the bench.
Fuck yeah, yo, I'm
league minimum, baby.
I can jack threes all day. Let's go.
There you go. I can still run the floor. I'm good for
Yep.
about three minutes.
Oh, absolutely. I remember the 1-3-1 trap. Let's go.
Yep. There you go. All right, audience. It's been real. See you next time. Douglas, what do you want to call it?
Oh, Friday evening.